What's going on, everybody? I'm OJ the OG, but I still got the juice.
And I'm Ressie G, not Cardi B, but I still get to the money.
And we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Casually Deep podcast. We appreciate you so much for being here.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below for all of our new content. And follow us on Instagram too.
Appreciate you so much. That's Casually Deep Podcast on Instagram. That's Ressie G on Instagram. And that's OJ.the.OG.
Is it really that deep?
Not really, but we make it that way.
Well, let's casually talk about it.
Let's do it.
What's up, everybody? It's Ressie G, not Cardi B, but I still get to the money.
And I'm Oaklyn Jonas Galloway, a.k.a. OJ the OG.
And welcome to the season finale of Casually Deep, the podcast. This has been a exciting and interesting journey.
Oh my gosh.
And it's so crazy. I don't think that people really know the story about how we actually met.
Wow.
So I think it was, picture it, Sicily. No. I think it had to be at least 2.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, when you interviewed me for Real Reality Realness.
Yeah.
And then nothing.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't communicate. We didn't talk or anything like that. I think we followed each other on social media for a little while, and then it kind of just coasted.
And I fell off the face of the earth for a while.
Yeah. And then we got reconnected because you wanted me to edit a project for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't think I want to do that because I don't want to just take your money because the project needs a little bit more shaping.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up becoming business partners and now podcast co-hosts. So crazy. And I think that it's time for y'all y'all know me. Because my life has been on display for the past, since 2017, I think.
Okay.
But
a couple of y'all may know me if you follow my YouTube channels, if you follow my podcast, y'all know me a little bit, but on a very, very much smaller scale.
Mm-hmm. So I think this episode, to close it out for this season, or season 1, instead of 21 questions, we're going to do 22 and split it up. And we are going to go as deep as we can with these questions. So, hey, you got to tell the truth.
Okay.
You got to tell the truth. I'm here for it. So, my first question to you is...
Okay.
Knowing what we know now from what you displayed from episode 1 all the way up to now, from what I know of you,
mm-hmm.
and how you are as a parent and your relationship with your mom,
mm-hmm.
how old were you when you feel like you lost your innocence and had to grow
up? There's 2 answers to that. I feel like... There's 2 answers to that. I feel like it was 8 when I realized there was a disconnect between me and my mother.
Mm.
And then it was 12 going on 13 when I realized, like, I have to really look out for myself. As far as my own, like, developmental being mentally and emotionally. Like, I'm out here on my own. Because it was 8 when... my stepfather, I think that was the year that he either proposed to my mother or their relationship was getting serious. And I started really recognizing, there's, I guess I never noticed that we were roommates before. But it wasn't until I started realizing, she's really not around, that I was like, okay, there's something not, I don't know anything about my mom. And then it was 12 when I was supposed to be moving to Florida with her to live with him. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was my freshman year of high school, and I remember crying the last day of school because I was never going to see any of my friends again. I was moving to Florida. And then over the summer, I had kind of like accepted, you know, because I'm very much a gypsy. Like, I love a new start, a fresh start, go over, start, you know, just starting over somewhere new. And so I had gotten hooked to the idea of moving to Florida. And then one day I remember my mom coming in my room and saying that I was going to go live with my dad for a year. And I remember it being so strange to me because this is the dad that I barely ever talked to, the one that, you know, I really didn't know much about, who she borderline kept me away from, but he also made the choice to stay away. So, you know, I can't completely blame it on her, but it was just like, I don't have a connection with my dad. Why? It was out of nowhere, right? And so if I had to give a definitive answer to that question, it would be August 15th, 2006 was the day.
Wow.
That was the day that my mom put me on the plane to Las Vegas. And that was the last time I ever, like, lived with my mother.
What did that do for y'all, to y'all's relationship?
It kind of marked the stunt of it. I feel like that was, I don't want to say the end of our relationship, but that was the peak of the growth of our relationship. Because from there, it was distance. And it was, you know, I'll hear from you on my birthday. I'll hear from you on holidays, you know, things like that. I'll hear from you every now and again just to check in and make sure I'm not dead, you know, things like that. But I knew from that day I was never going to have the opportunity to be a mama's boy. And that's something I wanted more than anything. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, it just kind of marked like where I was at with my mom. And even to this day, we haven't really grown past where we were when I was 12 and she was however old she was. So,
okay.
What do you think your mom would be proudest of when it comes to your development as a man and as a successful creative?
I think that my mom would always tell me that she was proud of me to the point where I was just, I believed it, but it was just like, okay, you're doing the duty of what a mom is supposed to do. Until, you know, I would call her crying and just ready to give up and all that. And I think, and she told me that people will never understand what you're doing for them. And it may be on a small scale to most, but I think everything I do is just on a big scale. I think that you never know what could happen to this work that you put out into the world. I mean, it could just be, you know, like back in the olden days, you singing at a gas station didn't get discovered. And I think now, so when my mom passed, it was very unexpected, or it was unexpected for me. Because she was doing well. She was in remission with cancer. She had her own apartment. Like, she was living and doing, and she was okay. Thriving. And I can recall I was working on a project with Barbie Bankrose. It was going to be her spin-off show for Chasing Reality. And then went over to Gemini Films. And then it was just going to be on mine. And blah, 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 blah. And I can remember having like this feeling of something's not right. And she died a week after Mother's Day. And that Mother's Day was the first Mother's Day I had ever been able to buy her everything she wanted. She was a very modest woman. And she wanted the basics. Oh, you just give me some, I need some new jeans and, you know, give me some cologne and, you know, just shoe, you know, just stuff like that. So I just like bought her a whole bunch of stuff and got it sent to her from Bath and Body Works and Fashion Nova, Amazon, just got it sent to her. And when I did that, I would say maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I think that her spirit was getting ready to depart, because she started to text me kisses. Never has she ever texted me kisses. Wow. Never. And to this day, she sent that twice. And I was just like, this is different. Kisses is different, you know, and I knew something was going on. And I felt like my mom, when I was able to buy her what she wanted, it was the okay for her to go.
Okay.
Because the last text message I got from her was love you, kisses. And then I text her back, and then I was like blowing up her phone and all of that, because it was like something was wrong. Like that day was just crazy to me. And so I would say that I think that she would be proud of my tenacity and my resilience, and she was very much a person that would be, I knew you was gonna be something. I already knew, you know, and she would say things like that. Very funny. Always. And so I don't think that anything that I'm doing now would be a surprise to her. I just think that the things that I would be able to do for her would be overwhelming to her, because she did her job. Right. She raised a child. And when I was able to start doing for her, all down to the smallest of things of, you know, Mom, what you doing? Nothing. Trying to figure out what I want to eat. What you got a taste for? I think I want pizza. You want me to order your pizza? Yeah, go ahead. You know, just small things. And I think that as time went on and she saw all the ridicule that I got on screen, and I remember showing her the season 3 trailer for Chasing Dallas, and her watching it, and she looked at me, and she was like, why the fuck you letting them come at you like that? And I said, well, Mama, you the one who said I can't fight back and go to... She was like, yeah, but you don't let people disrespect you like that. And then that moment, it was like, okay.
Click.
Because I was in Atlanta to do I was going to Alabama to film Just Lauren. And it was so... You know, I stopped by to see Mama because I couldn't see her prior to when I was there because of COVID.
Right.
And so I think that she was always proud of my want to do more and do bigger things and not be blinded by the trees. You know, she always wanted me to get somewhere further than where she could. Right. It was kind of like she always saw the road for me, and there was never one lane that she was like, you stay in this lane. She was just always about, you know, do your big one. As a parent, you would consider yourself to be a good parent.
Absolutely.
And your daughter is 10. So you've been a parent for 10 years.
10
a
years.
Decade.
A whole decade.
And with knowing how your mom treated you in those formative years and the disconnect, as a parent, what would be a piece of advice you would give her? If she was raising a 10-year-old OG, with what you know now, what would you give her?
It's something that I say to a lot of people just in a general sense, and I had never equated this to parenting before, but it's the only thing I can think of. Don't let your old baggage cause you to miss your next flight. Because of the way that I came about, I was a product of an affair, and, you know, I personally hold a lot of guilt for being a catalyst to destroying my mom's previous family, right? And I think I've mentioned it on this show before. I feel like because of that, my mother was never able to emotionally connect with me as a kid. And I feel like there's also a level of disconnect between her older boys as well that she doesn't have. And so looking back on it now, I can see how old traumas can play into her current parenting. Because I see all the ways I try to prevent myself from passing down my old traumas to my daughter. And so the one thing I would tell her is don't let your old regrets, your old traumas, your old mistakes cause you from making new ones with the child you have now. Because I feel like because of the things that she carried into her raising me, she ended up with the worst relationship with me.
Okay.
We hear you talk about your mom a lot. And you had and have such a great relationship with her, a very close relationship with her, but I've gotten a chance to get to know you a little better, and I've heard you speak about your father and the impact that he's had on you. And I think the one thing that I would want to know is, what is the one thing that your father taught you about being a man that you still carry today?
That's a good one. I think that there's two things that I carry with me. And one is how he taught me about faith. And this is a funny one. One, how he taught me about people.
Okay.
So my dad was, and I think a trait that I carried that he had was storytelling. Like, he tells a story and I tell a story for everything, every point that I'm trying to make. And to me, I don't know if he did this with anyone else, but he always would tell me a story to get to a point. And I can remember, so my dad was a Gwinnett County worker for 23 years. He stayed at the same job, same company. Wow. And he worked 4 days on, 4 days off, no matter how they fell. Christmas, any holiday, everything, but he still made time. Right. And he would take me to work with him sometimes, and because he would work overnight, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. And then sometimes when he would have me, he would leave early, or he would get to leave early because his coworkers were cool. So probably stay till maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then we would go home. But I can recall the water recycling plant that he worked at. It had you got the highway, and then it had this long driveway, and it was just trees. Georgia's very lush, so it was just trees, and then it opened up to the plant. And so I always in my mind used to think my dad is like a scientist.
Yeah, yes.
And I can recall round about midnight, 11:30, the staff would leave that from the day shift, and nobody else would be coming onto the property, and so he would have to go and close the gate and lock it with the chain. And he taught me how to drive while he was at work, because I drove pickup that he drove around the plant. And so he drove it to the gate, got out, closed the gate, locked it. We got back in, and he asked me, we sat there and we just kind of watched the cars go by on the highway, and he asked me about if I believed in God. And I said, yeah. And he was like, well, how do you know? And I said, I just know. And he said, well, that's faith. And I said, well, what's faith? And he said, if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? I'll never forget this. And I said, yeah. He said, okay, well, if a tree falls in the forest and doesn't make a sound if there's nobody around to hear it. And I said, yeah. He said, why? He said, and I said, because it's a big tree. It's going to hit the ground. It's going to make noise. Right. And he was like, so you believe that it would? And I said, yeah. He said, that's faith. Knowing that something is going to happen, even though nobody is around to see it, is faith. And I carry that with me every single day. And people that are closest to me call it being resourceful or being cunning or quick, but I know that people expect for me to figure it out. I've had to be a figure it out type of person. But I do have faith in knowing that I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when. I don't know what it looks like on the other side, but I'm going to be all right in every situation. And the second one about people was he always been a fluffy, and he made me feel better about my size by saying, we were at a stoplight. I will never forget this. We were at a stoplight on some big highway. I mean, not highway, but it was a street. And you know how the street with a four-way cross is really broad. And I can remember there was a CVS across, and it was like fast food restaurants. And then it would be a street that we would have to take to get home. And a woman rode past, and she looked very angry, and she was a plus-size woman. And we both saw her make the turn, and she kind of looked at us and scowled. And he's like, "You saw that lady?" I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Why do you think she's so mad?" And I was like, "I don't know." He said, "Well, look at it like this. You never know how people are, so you got to treat them right." Right. And fat people are one of two ways. Either they mad at the world because they fat, or they're happy because they're content with themselves, and they know they can change themselves if they need to. And so those two things are what I carry with me to this day about people. And also, I don't know when I got one more thing. I don't know when this got instilled in me or where it came from, but it was from my parents. And I want to say it was my dad, but it was always, the golden rule of treating everybody right. But he said, treat everybody right because you might be entertaining an angel unaware. And my dad used to make this, reference. I've talked about this in years. Wow. He used to make this reference to me and my brother about how no matter what we do in life, we were protected. And and even though we couldn't see it, there are 50-foot angels around us at all times protecting us. There are 50-foot angels, and this is definitely a core memory. And he would tell me and my brother that all the time, and I would just think to myself, I would always think, what do these angels look like? Like, they're 50 feet around me, protecting me. So, never go into the world with fear, and I don't have a fear for anything. Like, I just know what it's going to be is what it's going to be. You try me, run up on me, fuck around and find out.
Right.
And,
come on, Candy, don't start now, won't be none.
Okay, don't start now, won't be none. But yeah, I just, that's a big one. That was a big one that I have internalized and just made a part of my daily life. Because when I leave my house, I know what's out there. We know monsters are out there. But I'm not afraid because I know that I got those 50-foot angels, and I know he's one of them. Now, my mama was one of them, and I always would, I was the funeral singer in my family. And so I would always say the same thing, they're gone, but we just gained an angel, and I was singing Angels Watching Me by Trinity. Virtue, sorry. And I just realized that, my mom and my dad are now one of the 50. So I believe that as people, we always have moments where we negate the good that have happened in our lives. And even as children, when we go through, I think that Black men in general, we have a easy and a very familiar relationship with trauma bonds. And trauma in general, just inherently. And I would like to know if you had the chance as an adult to go back to your younger self, your child self, or you as a child, what's the one thing that you would protect yourself from?
It would be the sexual assault that I went through in Las Vegas. When I moved, like I told you, my mom sent me to live with my dad in Las Vegas for a year. And funny enough, no one knows this, I've never spoken to my parents about this.
Oh, wow.
My parents think that I just got jumped after school one day because I was the gay kid that was coming home from dance practice in his dance shoes, and just, you know, 4 guys just gay bashed me, right? What they don't know is those 4 guys gang raped me that day.
Oh, wow.
I feel like that experience was probably one of the most, if not the most definitive moment that shaped me as a person. It destroyed my trust in everything I knew, everything I believed in. It really caused me to question everything. I've never been the same person after that. And
how old were you?
I was 13.
Oh.
I had just turned 13. Fuck!
Cynthia.
Cynthia. No, but I had just turned 13, and I remember this so vividly. Because if you remember me telling you this, Danity Kane's first album dropped 4 days before my birthday. And I had me, my dad, my stepdad, all of my brothers running around Las Vegas looking for this album. And he surprised me with it the day of my birthday. School started the day of my birthday. So I remember having my little portable CD player with my little headphones, bopping around in my Danity Kane like I was hot shit. Bitch, you hear me? And so we were a couple weeks into school. I had just joined, you know, the dance team that was attached to my dance class and all of this type of stuff. And I was coming home from dance practice, and I remember, I remember listening to Right Now when he called me over. And the crazy part about it was that he lured me over there, and he was like, yeah, you go to such and such, right? I was like, yeah, I go to Valley High School or whatever. Mind you, the school is literally across the street from my house. So, like, literally, here's my house, there's the school. Like, you can see it from my house, you know what I'm saying? And so he's like, yeah, I know this boy that likes you, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Da-da-da-da. And next thing you know, he, like, goes to call, like his homeboy over. And he turns around and he punches me in the face.
Oh, my God.
And so we're fighting. And next thing you know, his boys jump in, they jump me, and eventually I just, like, I lose consciousness.
Oh, my God.
And I wake up in the middle of the situation happening. And I've never felt pain like that in my life. I just remember fighting to get out of there. I don't know where I was. But I just remember not being too far away from home. And I eventually get home, and I remember running in the apartment, and I couldn't tell if anyone was there or not. And I just remember running and hiding in the closet and just packing all my stuff. And I remember running out of the house with my bag and seeing my dad's girlfriend coming out of the bathroom, and she's like, what's going on? What's going on? And I just remember running. I don't know how far I got, but I just remember stopping in a park and I couldn't run anymore. And I just remember falling asleep there. And I remember my dad eventually finding me, my dad and my brothers. Well, I called them my stepbrothers. They were my dad's girlfriend's sons. And I just remember my brother Marcus carrying me back to the house and just like, what happened? And I just remember hearing them being like, why is he bleeding? What happened? What happened to him? Why does he look like that? And taking me to the hospital, and I wouldn't talk about it. I just said that I got jumped on my way home from school and I just ran. But I never told them what happened.
Why do you think you omitted that one part?
Because not too long before that, my dad was the first person to ever come to me and ask me, was I gay? Right? And I respected him so much for coming to me and just flat out asking me. I remember it clear as day. He was teaching me how to drive. And we were in the car, and he was teaching me how to drive. He was telling me, what to do and all this type of stuff and this, that, and the third, and what to look at. And I just remember him looking over at me, and I would look back and he would look forward, and I would just catch him looking at me. And so eventually he stopped and asked me, and he was like, there's something I want to ask you, and I just want you to be honest with you. I love you, blah, 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 blah. All the things parents say. And he's just like, are you gay? And I remember saying to him, like, wow, I never thought I would hear anybody actually ask me that question. And I remember coming out to him because I respected that, and I felt like, okay, this is the first time I really get to bond with my dad. After that, he calls my mother, he calls my stepfather, he calls my grandmother, he calls my aunt, he calls my uncle, he calls my entire family and outs me to my entire family. Mind you, I was out to the public world because, like I told you, I came out on MySpace. I just changed my orientation and kept it moving. But that was to my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, my friends knew me.
Yeah, it was MySpace.
Like, it was MySpace. Candy was my number one song, and the background was Aaliyah. I wasn't hiding very much.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have that, I wanted to sit down and have that conversation. And I got robbed of that. And so it ruined any type of trust I was trying to build with my father. So, and then on top of that, he would get in arguments with his girlfriend, and then I would get brought into it because I had an attachment to her. And so he would go to the, derogatory faggot this, faggot that, da-da-da-da-da. And he would always use my sexuality to try to hurt me, right? So when this happened, something in me was like, I'm not going to get the same care from him if he knows what happened to me.
Okay.
I'm not going to get... Nobody's going to protect me if they know what happened to me. My brothers would have, I'm sure, because they didn't give a fuck. Like, they already knew what was up. They came to me and was like, yo, like, if you need, like... they had my back, but that was my dad.
Right.
So... I think this is my last family-oriented question, or my last parental-guided question. I want to know that if you had the opportunity to give each of your parents a gift to represent what they instilled in you, what would each gift be?
I would give my dad a pair of... I'll give him a set of Gucci flatware. No, but I would give him a set of very expensive flatware because my dad always would say to me growing up, because he taught me how to cook. My mom also taught me how to cook, but for different reasons. Right. His reason was, he said, I'm going to teach you how to cook so you can eat everything and never go hungry. So with him eating pig brains and eggs in the morning with grits and rabbit and coon and deer meat and all this stuff, he made it so, and it's crazy because it came full circle when I was in the children's shelter after the abuse from my stepmom. The food there was horrible. It was so bad. And like they had this pizza that came in like this big box. It was just so bad. Like the pizza was like cardboard. Like it was like I would rather eat the box. But then after that happened, I could hear his voice so clearly in my head of, well, see, I told you, you ain't gonna never go hungry because you can eat everything. For my mom, I would give her a stick of burgundy lipstick and black eyeliner. Wow. My mom, I can always remember, and a bottle of red, fire engine red nail polish. My mom would always wear red nails. But her natural nails,
red nail polish.
Her natural long nails, they just always grew so quickly and very long. She would always wear her nails red. She would always line her lips and wear like a burgundy lip. I remember I actually gave her a burgundy lip because I started wearing burgundy. Like if you go back and look at a lot of my Chasing Dallas stuff, like season 2, I always wear like a burgundy lip. And she would go in the bathroom. I remember seeing her. She would go in the bathroom. She would sharpen her eyeliner, and then she would burn it on the end with a lighter. And then she would line her eyes, and that's why I line my eyes today. Sick, man. So I would give them those 2 things.
I love that.
My next question is, with the experiences that you've had with friendships and moving back home and trying to build friendships, do you think for you that you would ever find true friends, like lifelong friends?
I hope that. I strongly hope that, because as somebody, I'm the youngest of 9. I'm the youngest of 9 siblings all together, and I didn't grow up with any of them. Right? So I always was the kid that grew up wanting brothers and sisters, wanting to have like a group of friends, wanting to be in a group. That's why I auditioned for making the band, like, all of that type of stuff. And so I am one of those people that thrives on friendship. I hope that. I feel like I would have to compartmentalize my friendships to people who are somewhere in the same arena as me, because I feel like those people would not only understand the things that I do, but they would also, be in that arena themselves. So like we would be able to contribute effectively to each other. We would be able to understand each other. And I feel like there wouldn't be a competition between us, because we both have our own thing. And I feel like the most successful friendships that I'd be able to have would probably be with people who were in the same arenas or in the same rooms as me. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've found one that I feel like could really, grow into a really long-term, lifelong friend through the working relationship that we've built. I'm speaking about her. I know. If you haven't noticed already.
Shut up.
That,
my God.
This my friend.
That you like this
with.
This your friend. Like, who you like this with.
Yeah, right.
Very much that. Like, I feel like you've really kind of restored my faith in, like, genuine friendship. And I feel like a reason why I didn't necessarily look for friendships in the business world that I was in was because, one, I always wanted to be focused on business. Two, because of some of the things that we've experienced in our working relationship with thus far. Not between us, but with the people that I've been working with. Mm-hmm. And so, and then there's, you know, I always expected there to be a level of competition, especially because, like, I like people around me who have the same vibe, you know, bad bitches that are getting money, doing out here, you know, ambitious, out here, you know, creative, visionaries. Like, I don't like to feel bigger than anybody. So if I'm going to be around people, then I'm going to be around people who I'm equal to or can learn something from, because I want us to get money together. I don't want to be at the top by myself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so while I never expected us to become friends, because I just kind of, I go into business oriented. Like, I came to you like, hey, what's your number? Here's a project. I have a bag. Let's go. You know what I mean? Because I believe in paying people for what they're worth, doing good by people, and you know, doing good business. I was just lucky to get a friend out of it. You know what I mean? So,
well, I'll definitely be the Savannah to your Bernadette.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. At $5, you can have it.
Okay, this nice house, Bernie.
My next question kind of segues off of yours a little bit, funny enough. My next question for you was, what was your greatest apprehension in working with me? And then the second part to that is, what was your greatest apprehension in becoming friends with me outside of the business?
I think when working with anybody, in any field that I'm a part of, sure, I know how hard it is or has been for me, because I've had so much passion for anything that I'm doing. And my biggest apprehension or reservation that I pushed through was just knowing your passion of the project that we were working on and really wanting to make this happen, because that was my story with coming to Dallas and wanting to make this happen for the city. Because you believe in the city. You don't know these people from Adam's House Cat, but you believe that something great can come out of it. And just knowing the lessons that I learned from the experiences that I have experienced with creating multiple shows and working in this space and being a web reality icon and losing people, I'm just like, it was so similar that passion that I had with starting season 1, not knowing where the money was going to come from, not knowing how to produce, not knowing anything, but just knowing I want to do this. I want to make this happen for these people. Mm-hmm. That's why I always tell you, like, trust the process, it'll pay off. Trust the process, it'll pay off, because, like, the journey to get to where I'm sitting today on so many different levels could not and would not have happened if I didn't have that passion for the Dallas gays, the Dallas LGBT community, and wanting to be ambitious and take a step and create a show that then catapulted or helped catapult the platform that it's on now. Creating a show to give light to these people that no one knew, and then helping them see themselves in a different way so that they can be further, be TikTok influencers, be singers that chart, be producers, be on the Miss Pat show, you know, doing all these different things, and not caring about, oh, I did that, and not taking it from them, but being happy, even though I don't like you particularly, I'm happy to see that this put a fire under your butt to see that you can do more and you can be more. Personally, I don't have reservations or apprehensions when it comes down to making friends. I don't. I just have I have my warning signs. So if I start to see those signs of how people have treated me in the past and how people have hurt me in the past, I try my best I go ahead and slink away. and I make it. But if it's somebody new and something new, I'm like, okay, well, this is not anything that I know. So let me get to know this person. Can we mesh well? Can we talk? Can we be friends and be cool? If we don't talk for 6 months, do we pick up where we left off? And so I don't think I had any reservation, because I can't, and I always say you have a true mark of a friendship is when you can't really tell where it started. And at this point, I can't really tell where it started.
Right.
For us. And that even goes to, and people love to say that I don't know how to keep friends, but I keep lifelong friends. My oldest friend, we've been friends for 16 years. Then I have another friend, girl, who we've been friends for about 12. Then me and Imani Van Zapp or Eric Diller, we've been friends for almost 10 years. So I keep friends, lifelong friends, because I want everybody to come along with me when we go on that mountain.
Right.
You know, and I feel like you're one of those people. One of those people now. So, but yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah. Did you have any reservations with working with me?
Working with you, no. You were the first person I reached out to. And it's because I do my research. And I know what I wanted. I know what I wanted the project to be. I know I still want the project to be. I know what I wanted to do for my city, what I wanted to show, how I wanted to show it, and the quality that I wanted to show it in, and I hadn't seen it anywhere else. And so I'm like, well, you get what you pay for. And so I was like, well, bitch, I want the best. I'm going to the best. So working with you, no, because I had been a fan of your work already, which is why I wanted you on the podcast a year or so before. You know what I mean? Because I was like, even back then, I was like, I want to produce. So I want to talk to the producers that are doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? And so, I don't even think I've told you this, but before I reached out to you, I went back and listened to our interview beforehand, because I was like, I went back and I listened to our interview. I went back and watched seasons 1 and 2 of Chasing Dallas, and I kind of went on a deep dive of you on the internet, just to see if like there was anything new that I needed to know, like as far as like projects and things, and like just seeing like, you know, what all the things that were going on. And that was how I found The Retreat. So I came, watched that over again, because I remember you telling me about it in the interview, and I watched it when it came out, and I went back and revisited it. And so I was like, this person gets it. This person literally, like, I didn't realize it when I conceptualized the project that I conceptualized, but I realized, like, you had done what I was trying to do with my project with Chasing Dallas. That was it. Like, yeah. It was very much like...
it's literally the same struggle.
Yeah. Legit.
The journey to it, if y'all only knew.
And as we've been going through it, it's like I've been just walking in your footsteps along the way.
How did... And, I mean, if you don't want to say the name, then we'll bleep it out. But how did working with that other production company affect your hope of being in that reality world or web reality world? Did it affect it at all, like the experience?
It affected it in the way of, it kind of drilled in my mind that I was gonna have to do this myself. It kind of reaffirmed that for me, because you know the story, like I was casted for a show on that network before and filmed a couple scenes, couldn't finish the show due to my own stuff going on in my own life and everything like that. I ended up here. And so, you know, they came back around wanting to do a deal and this, that, and the third, and then it ended up falling through for whatever reasons it fell through. And it didn't deter me from wanting to do it. It just kind of took me back to conversations that I was having with someone, and I think it started on the podcast interview that I did with them, somebody named Michael Riggins.
I know Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mike.
Shout out to Mike.
Mm-hmm.
He was really the one that put the battery in my back and kept telling me,
Do it yourself.
Do it yourself.
You told me to say.
Start your own shit. Like, start your own shit. Because he really made me realize, like, all of the producers that I was interviewing, all of the people who I had gone out and sought out this advice from, they'd all did the same thing. They all went out and did it themselves. They all went out, got a camera, and figured it the fuck out. And so it was in that conversation with him that I started working on a project at that time that he was helping me on that ended up not working out, and it was a whole thing or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I ended up on this show and all of that. But it just kind of, if anything...
I know about that project.
I'm sure you do.
Hey, Mike.
And I still want to do that.
I know about that project.
I still want to do... wait.
There is so much to you. Let me tell y'all something.
We got to talk about that.
To all of the viewers that are in the web reality world, if y'all knew about the private conversations that I've had with so many people, because I'm your favorite producer's favorite producer. And I've talked to all of the girls except for that one that you were working with. Never have had a conversation with them, but I've heard things that they've allegedly said about me. But if y'all only knew these backdoor conversations, child, some people will be going to jail.
Child, well, hopefully you heard good things, but I doubt it. But okay. Anyway, well, hopefully you heard good things about me because the project was crazy. Anyway,
I didn't hear anything about you.
Oh,
it was just all about them, who he was working with at the time. If we're talking about this, we gotta talk about off camera.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, working with you, no, I didn't have any reservations. But as far as that impacting me, it just lit a bigger fire under my back, and it kind of made me revisit that. And I was like, okay, well, bitch, you're gonna have to do it by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm the type of person who thinks, like, if something comes back around, it's supposed to happen. So I thought because that company had come back around and still wanted to work with me, I was like, oh, well, then it's supposed to happen. And then they came around with a better opportunity. It was like, oh, not you're going to be a cast on the show. No, bitch, bring me a show. And I brought them too. You know what I mean? So, shout out to you. But, but it all worked out. Yeah. It all worked out. So, you know, Godspeed.
Godspeed. Your turn.
My turn. Okay. Was that really your next question?
It can be.
Oh.
Well, the previous question wasn't it, but the one about the production, the web reality production company, that was the question.
Okay, T. Okay. Okay, so my next question for you, I'm going to get a little personal. And I know that, you know, we've talked about your limiting your own experience with relationships because, you know, it's not that you can't pull, it's that you don't choose to stay. So.
I like that. In my Carisha voice.
Okay. But, do you have anything internally, like personally with you, that you feel keeps you from exploring intimate and personal relationships past a sexual conquest?
I think that there was a time where, like, in Atlanta, when I lived in Atlanta, I wanted it, but there was this one guy who I thought was going to be it. I thought we were going to be, like, it. We met on Jacked. He came around the corner because he was a street over at his grandma's house. He came around the corner. We sat on the back patio. We talked and talked and talked. No sex. He left. And we kept talking, like, on and off for about, like, 3 years. And so we weren't together because we would be consistent for, like, maybe a month or two. Like, talking, texting, you know, hey, what you doing, all this stuff, chilling. And then he would just disappear for months on end. Like, we're talking, like, 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
And then he'd come back around for another 3 or 4 months. Then he would disappear again. And so this happened on and off for like 3 years. and we only had sex 3 times because every time he would come back around, we would get intimate and see each other and everything. And then the last time was I went to his apartment. He had got an apartment. He was in school at a very major medical school in Atlanta at Emory. And he was studying to be a RN. And so he was focused on that and getting in school and all that, and I understood. And he had finally gotten an apartment, and we went over to the apartment. He invited me over to see him because he had just come back in town from like a family reunion. And of course, you know, we gonna have sex, so I mean, of course, that's expected. So
Chris in the new place,
basically. And so I came over, and I was in his bedroom, and I think he just had like a mattress, box spring mattress. No, he had an actual bed. It was a bed, and sparsely furnished because he had just moved.
Right.
And he went to take a shower, and he had like all these photos out from, like, I think it was like either a family reunion or a funeral, and it was like photos of his family. He was showing me some of the people and everything. And then his school badge was there. And I looked at the badge, and it had a completely different name on it than what he had told me his name was. Mind you, I've known this man for about 3 years. And I looked at it, and I was just like... And then I saw, like, another badge, and it had the same name. And I was just like, well, who are you?
Who are you?
And who are you? Who were you? Who are you?
What do you hope to be?
Like, and so he got out the shot, and I was immediately just turned off. I was disgusted because I felt like you use your Jack name as your real name for years, and you never, like, I mean, everybody know Ressie is not my real name, but that's who I am. But,
Word.
you know, if you get to know somebody, you know they government. Like, you never told me your government.
What's your real name?
And not your stripper name. And so he came and got out the shower. I laid down and I turned my back to him, and he was trying to have sex, and I just was not. And then he eventually just went to sleep, and I could not sleep. And I woke up probably around about 3 or 4 in the morning, maybe 5 in the morning, because the sun was coming up. And I just got myself together and walked out. And as I was leaving the complex, he called me, and I didn't answer. And after that, I just like completely disconnected from the idea of being in a relationship fully. Like, we can have sex, you can tell me I'm pretty and all that stuff, but I just kind of just disconnected from it. I'm like, okay, whatever, I gotta go hustle, you know. And that's when I got into, I appreciate that experience happening, because that's when I got to it as a stylist. I was like, you know what? Well, I ain't got no man. I'm not looking for no man, so let's go to work.
Yeah.
Let's go to work. Then I went over there to Real Housewives. I was over there with Love and Hip Hop. I was over there with Cutting It in the ATL. I was over there with Selling It in the ATL. I was over there with the New Atlanta. I was over there working with Bonner Brothers. I was over there working with Derek Blanks.
Period.
Drexina Nelson and
Tell
all those
them
people.
how it is.
Okay. and I was just like, you know, this is going to be my boyfriend. My style, I'm doing panels and, you know, club, another club.
Set,
okay.
club, another.
And like, you know, I was like challenging myself because of I just got kind of content with just like, you know what, that space is just never going to get filled. I'm okay with it. It's not going to get filled. No matter how attractive I am, how well I speak, my accolades, it's okay.
I relate to that so
but
heavy right now.
I am hopeful that one day I will run into whoever he is and we'll hit it off and it'll be great. But the one relationship I can always fall back on is the one that I have with my career and the relationship I have with my ambition. And I was doing all of that, so I have a little money here and there to go and socialize and be around the gays that were doing stuff and nobody knew. And that's how I got pushed into like that Real Housewives circuit because at the time I started making money and I was the stylist. I was the celebrity stylist.
Word.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I had money. And I started hanging around this older crowd of gays. So at the time I was like early 20s. But I was mature because I was on.
Right.
And they were like mid 30s, 40. Mm-hmm. And they would always invite me over to have cocktails and everything. And that was a part of the lifestyle, though. But then that's how I met Cynthia Bailey. Because she lived maybe 3 or 4 doors down in a brownstone, just like the one that my friend had. So she would come over, and we all would be cocktailing and drinking, and her Bailey boys would be there, Terrence, and we would all have a good time, and we would start pre-gaming at his house and head over to Bar One, and that's how I kind of got into that Real Housewives circuit, because at the time the New Atlanta was on. Then I met Portia because my drunk friend is gonna say, "Oh, that's Ressie. He's a celebrity stylist. That's my friend. We're really close."
Shout out to you.
And Portia says, "Oh, for real?" I say, "Yeah, I got a client on this show." And then Lauren says, who are you working with? I said, "Oh, I'm working with Alex." He was like, "Oh my God, that's my friend." Then next thing you know,
connections made.
Doing the branding photo shoots and everything. So for Go Naked Hair, the first iteration of Go Naked Hair, Ressie G styled those photos.
Yes, God.
Ressie G put that wig on that lady's head and secured it so that Ming Lee could whip it and dip it.
Hey.
And while Simone Tishi was beating up the face. And
that was a team. Dude.
Oh yeah, that was an amazing team.
That was a team.
Oh, what a time to be alive.
Well, that's part 1, and we can't wait to show you part 2. Stay tuned.